All right, so we are in Chapter 6 on differential equations, and this is a section found in Chapter 8.5 of the textbook that goes over your partial fraction decomposition. And the reason we cover it in Chapter 6 is for this logistical growth model. So our differential equation for the logistical growth model can be modeled as shown, where M is your carrying capacity, K is your proportionality constant, all right? And then when you simplify this expression, the solution to that differential is shown here on the right. So we couldn't talk about this before on how you get there until we talk about the partial fraction decomposition. So in this video right now, I'm just going to show you how you can get to this solution with that technique. All right, so just as we've done before, we're going to need to separate out. And don't forget here, the P is my variable and the T is my variable. M and K are not my variables. So I would have to be dividing to get my P variables on the left, and my K and DT would be on the right. Okay, so now when I'm going through here, I'm gonna have to integrate both sides. Okay, so now with my K on the right, it's pretty easy. It's going to be KT plus C. Okay, with my 1 over P, we're going to have to do our partial fraction decomposition. So if we multiply everybody by that common denominator, remember P here is our variable, so if I let P equal to M, then I'm going to have 1 is equal to BM, which means my B is 1 over M. If I let P equal 0, all right, so I've got both my A and my B are 1 over M. So in my rewrite over here, I'm going to have 1 over M P plus 1 over M minus P dP is equal to KT plus C. Well, 1 over M is just a constant, right? So I can just take that out of my integrand, if that makes it easier for you to see. So then my antiderivative of 1 over P is the natural log of the absolute value of P plus the natural log of the absolute value of M minus P. Now don't forget here that P is my variable here. So P technically is behind that subtraction sign. So you can imagine here, if we did a U substitution, that my du would be a negative P dP. So I would need to be forcing a negative and countering a negative. So without having to show all that work like that, we know we're going to have that negative sign. It's going to come along somehow into that problem. And just by that quick little thought through, we know we're going to have that subtraction sign. If you're not seeing that, then of course you should be doing your U substitution technique. All right, and this 1 over M, right, was a quantity for that whole anti-differentiation. So when we're solving this, don't forget we're trying to get P by itself. Okay, so let's slide up our work so far. Let's go back to the black color here. So since 1 over M is a constant, then I should be able to multiply by M on both sides in order to get rid of that value. So now I've got natural log on the left and then I've got m, k, t plus c on the right. So with our logarithmic differentiation, we could simplify this expression, all right, and I'm going to show it on the side here, where we have 1 log, and then we have our m minus p in the denominator, okay? I'm just telling you that the binomial in the denominator is going to cause us a problem. So we're going to save that step, and right now we're going to multiply both sides by a -1. So now that when we combine that log reduction there to put them as 1 log instead of 2, now we have a monomial in the denominator instead of a binomial. So now I can take both sides to the base e. So I've got the absolute value of m minus p over p is equal to e raised to the negative mkt plus c. All right, and here's where the advantage comes into play with the monomial in the denominator. Let's get some context into here. So we've got the absolute value in the problem, but the model is really based on population growth. So P would be our population. So that would be a positive number. Our carrying capacity is going to be a positive number. So we can eliminate the concept here of that absolute value really without changing much of the problem at all. All right. So by splitting it with a monomial in the denominator, I can split it. And that is the reason we needed it there. There are other techniques to avoid that or adjust from that in the future, but that seemed to be a pretty nice time to adjust for that monomial. So if we add 1 to both sides, our p is still in our denominator. So you can imagine if we had a proportion set up, I would be multiplying both sides by p to get p out of the denominator. Then I would be dividing both sides by the quantity e raised to that crazy exponent plus 1. So essentially, these two are just going to switch spots. All right, so then I'm going to have my m in my numerator. I'm going to have the quantity. Well, usually they write the e in the back here. Well, we'll write it in front. All right, so now just rethinking what we have over here. If we have e raised to the negative mkt plus c, this could be rewritten to be e to the negative mkt times e to the c, because if you have the same base, then you add your exponents, which is why this plus c can turn into the product of these two values. Well, e to the c is just going to be a constant of some sort, a multiplier. So it is pretty common that you're not going to see that portion in your final answer. A lot of textbooks or a lot of YouTube videos are going to use the capital letter A. And then this is going to be our solution that we saw above. And let's just shrink it down to verify here. All right, so I've got P equals M's on the top, M is in the numerator, 1 plus A, e to the negative mkt. They are putting that grouping signal because M and K are constants. It's going to be turned into one value, and T is your variable. So we needed to have that skill of partial differentiation or partial fraction decomposition in order to accomplish this task today.